You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy Mars Day. Let me know if you can see and hear me. We're having some tech issues today, and I want to make sure that we're all good. So if you're watching live, yay, you can see me. Literally looks no different on my end than it looked the first time, but we're just going to trust in divine timing and trust that we needed to restart for whatever reason. But as I was saying, when you couldn't see or hear me, we have a couple notable birthdays today, some famous Cancers as we wrap up Cancer season. Benedict Cumberbatch is a Cancer, and Jared Padalecki is also celebrating a solar return right now. He is the guy from Supernatural, from Gilmore Girls, and funny enough, we've been watching these YouTube videos Architectural Digest puts out where they tour celebrity homes. Don't ask me why, but we just watched his, and he is such a Cancer, like totally into his kids and his home, very much giving Cancer vibes. If you're a Cancer, if you know someone who's a Cancer, let us know in the chat so we can celebrate them too. And thank you to all of my field producers joining me today. Maribel, Rachel, who is the first person to say, hey, something's not right here. Court, thank you. Michelle, thank you. All good, all good. Angela, happy birthday to your little niece, Eliana, on her 3rd birthday, Maribel. How fun. So much fun celebrating at that age, you know, right when they're starting to figure out what their birthday is, what cake is, all that good stuff. So we have a lot to talk about today, a lot of planetary movements happening. But first, let's just take the temperature. The sun is still in Cancer, very much still in our fields as we wrap up Cancer season, and the moon is now in Aries. And you'll see as the forecast goes on, the Aries moon is playing a really important role in all the planetary shifts happening today. So really moving our body is going to still be a great way of releasing energy, of releasing emotions or processing emotions in general. There's a lot of focus on our body with the sun in Cancer and the moon in Aries asking us to take action and to move. But what we're really feeling today is Mercury moving into Leo, Chiron stationing retrograde, and the sun opposing Pluto. 3 major transits to talk about. So we're just going to go in the order that they're happening, starting with Mercury entering Leo. So, you know, this transit to me is the song Let's Get Loud by J-Lo. Like, that's really all you need to know. It's bold words, it's expression, it's, you know, just not being afraid to be loud and proud about what we think, about the words we're using, about expressing ourselves. Leo is ruled by the sun. It's all about expression and creativity and being bold and being proud. And of course, Mercury rules our mental state. So with Mercury in Leo, it's like our conversations, our words are taking center stage, and we're ready to put ourselves out there, put our ideas out there. You know, we are a little bit more dramatic when Mercury's in Leo as far as our words and our speech, how we're talking and writing, because, you know, Leo loves the drama. But If there's something maybe that's been on your heart that you've been dreaming up, especially with Mercury in Cancer, which has been a little bit more private over the past 3 weeks, maybe you've been talking about ideas with people who feel safe, feel a little bit more private. Now that Mercury's in Leo, it's a time to put those ideas out there. This is a great time for making presentations or pitches for your ideas. We're just a little bit more courageous with our words and thoughts with Mercury and Leo. And, this is a lot of positivity, a lot of confidence it gives us to express ourselves. But Leo can also be tied to the ego, right? Because the sun and the ego are very much tied in astrology, Leo being ruled by the sun. So we want to make sure that we're not putting ourselves at the center of every conversation. We want to make sure that we're giving room for other people to express themselves too, that we're not dominating the conversation or, putting our own ego as the focus or our ideas as what we're talking about, if that makes sense. So, just fair warning over the next few weeks, yes, we're feeling ourselves, we want to share, we want to express, but we also want to be cognizant that other people have really bold, beautiful ideas to share as well. In general, though, I love Mercury and Leo. It's just a very fun, expressive energy, and I think it's going to get people a little bit more out of our crab shells, right? With Mercury in Cancer, we're in Cancer season. Once the sun moves into Leo on Friday, Mercury's there too. We're all going to be a little bit more playful and outgoing, I think, over the next few weeks. So that's the first major energetic shift we're feeling today. And Mercury moved into Leo at about 5 a.m. this morning. So Mercury's there. The expression is happening. The conversations are a little dramatic, a little bold for the next 3 weeks. Now let's talk about Chiron stationing retrograde. This happened at about 8:30 this morning. And we're really going to feel this station. Now, Chiron stations retrograde every year. So this is normal. We feel this frequently. And it's an extended retrograde. It's a 5-month retrograde until, I believe, December 26th. But basically, until the end of the year, Chiron will be retrograde. And for those of you who are maybe new to the channel, we talk a lot about Chiron here. I really love using astrology as a tool for healing, and Chiron is known as the wounded healer. And, I'll let you dive into the mythology of Chiron and why Chiron got its name and kind of the deeper meaning behind it. But essentially, to really sum it up, Chiron was known as the wounded healer because he was not able to heal himself, but he was able to heal all these other people in the quest to heal himself. He had so much knowledge about all these different healing modalities that he was able to share with other people, but was never fully able to use on himself. Now, in astrology, the meaning of Chiron is that it represents our deepest wounds. So this is a great time to look at where Chiron is in your chart. When we have these days where there's an awareness of Chiron, it doesn't necessarily mean all of our Chirons are going to be super activated under this Chiron retrograde. If you have Chiron in Aries, where Chiron is now, I would say you're going to probably feel this really powerfully. Or even if you have Chiron somewhere at the midpoint of Cancer, Capricorn, or Libra as well, all the cardinal signs, this might be a more agitating Chiron retrograde for you. But all of us can just take a moment to bring awareness to our Chiron placement. And if you haven't gotten a copy of your birth chart, you can find it. Just scan the QR code in the corner, or there's a link in the description, thespiritualjournalist.com/birth chart. And knowing where your Chiron is kind of like, well, Chiron is, the symbol is a key, right? So it's like getting a key to your own healing when you start to understand and unravel your own Chiron placement. In astrology, though, Chiron in Cancer crew, who else has Chiron in Cancer? So you might be feeling it a little bit more. Chiron represents our deepest wounds in our chart, but also once we are able to heal ourselves and understand our wounds, we're also able to use that knowledge to heal other people. And with Chiron and Aries, we've been talking a lot about healing our inner child, with Chiron, or with Aries being the sign of the inner child or the child. But also Aries represents our self. So it's very much been focused on self-healing, with Chiron and Aries. And during this Chiron retrograde, it's really an opportunity to review, as we always do during retrogrades, to review our own healing journeys, to review how far we've come, maybe the work we still need to do. And as Chiron stations, starts, it's kind of at this lull right now, or this pause. Anytime a planet stations retrograde, it's almost as if it hangs in the sky. It just hangs out there for a moment while it switches direction. It's bringing awareness to our wounds. It's bringing awareness to our healing journey. So yes, this might bring up triggers today, or maybe old wounds could feel like they're being reopened right now, especially as we get into what's going on with the Sun and Pluto. It's going to intensify things. But the awareness is always an opportunity. If we don't know what's going on, we're just unconsciously playing out our traumas, right? So if you do get triggered, or if you are reviewing maybe the healing that still needs to be done, or the healing you've already done, just remember that's an opportunity for more healing to happen. It's never linear. It's never an end destination. Healing is always a journey. And once we accept that we're always walking through this in this lifetime, we're always working on our healing, that can be really empowering to know that there's never going to be a point where we're all just healed and perfect. There's always things triggering us. And I know this can be kind of scary to talk about, like, okay, for the next 5 months, you're reviewing your healing, or things could come back up that maybe you've been neglecting in order to be addressed and to be healed. But it's not necessarily something to be feared. It's just really an opportunity to take a look inside ourselves and ask, how can we better heal ourselves? How can we better take care of maybe our inner child, or the parts of us that are wounded? So really, over the next few months, our focus is on self-healing, and just allowing us also to give ourselves credit for how far we've already come, how far we've gone in our healing journey already. That can be really empowering as well. So I'm going to kind of jump ahead here, because the reason I say the Aries moon is really playing into these transits today is because as Chiron stationed retrograde right around 8:30, the moon came into a conjunction with Chiron. So you can see the Aries moon at the same point as Chiron in the sky right now. And when the moon forms a conjunction, it's really bringing an emotional awareness to that placement, right? So this morning, you might kind of be feeling Chiron, and whatever that means for you. Of course, healing is so individualized. It's hard to say, like, you're going to get triggered or this is going to happen, because we all carry our wounds differently. But there's definitely an awareness this morning on pain points, or maybe what needs to be healed, or what's already been healed. But our healing journey is highlighted this morning as the moon meets up with Chiron right as Chiron is stationing retrograde. It almost feels like there's this moment this morning of stillness where it's like, whoa, healing. What do we need to do here? What do we need to address here? Let me know if you've been feeling that. And it might be something, I've been feeling like I haven't addressed this lately, but a lot of these transits that are playing out right now, especially what we'll talk about with the Sun and Pluto, we can kind of feel them leading up to Chiron stationing retrograde and the days following. So even if it's not like this morning this is happening for you, it's more likely to, because of what's going on with the moon. But you might be feeling this a couple days before, a couple days after, and all the energy is working together. So the past few days have been intense for a lot of people. This week might feel a little intense too, as we're kind of unraveling the things that need to be healed, or the things that have been hiding beneath the surface. And it might not all happen exactly on time with the transits. It might take a little bit to settle in. So just give yourself some grace if it's like this isn't happening exactly when it's supposed to happen based on the exact transits. Chiron in Leo at 16 degrees in the 12th house. So your Chiron is forming an exact trine to Chiron stationing retrograde right now. And your Mercury will be going over it with Mercury in Leo. You're going to have your Mercury return. A lot of healing happening for you with this all going on in your 12th house. A lot of healing. I see, though, with it being an exact trine, Chiron's retrograde kind of helping you out. Like, this is a positive transit for you to really focus in and be able to review the healing that's been happening for you in a positive way, in a fortunate way. So just know that this Chiron retrograde, it's no coincidence that your Chiron is at 16 degrees and Chiron is stationing retrograde at 16 degrees. This is a really powerful moment for you to take a look at your healing. And anytime we talk about healing, you know, I know I've said this already, but give yourself credit, give yourself grace. You're able to even acknowledge the healing that's happening. Think back to a time in your life, and we've all been there, where you weren't even able to like have this awareness about the healing that needed to happen or how much you've already healed. You know, maybe you were just kind of walking through life triggered and unconscious. Now you're here. Now you're looking at your chart and you're like, oh, there's a lot going on in my 12th house. That is evolution. That is healing in itself, if you ask me. So congratulations to you. I know it's probably not the most comfortable right now, but give yourself a pat on the back, Rachel, for how far you've already come and the awareness you have because of it. Let me know if anyone else is feeling Chiron in any way, because like I said, this is it's hard to say like this is how you're going to be triggered. All of our Chiron placements are so different, so unique. Even people who have Chiron in the same sign, it's so individualized what I have realized as I work with people and their charts. Like it's so unique to each person. Good morning, beautiful human. Now let's talk about what's going on with Pluto, because, you know, as if Chiron retrograde wasn't intense enough, the sun is opposing Pluto today. And you can see it with that big red line in the middle of the chart, that opposition, the sun at 26 degrees, Pluto's at 27 degrees right now. So this will be an exact opposition around 6:30 tonight Pacific time, but we're definitely feeling it. And remember, yesterday we talked all about Mercury opposing Pluto. So how I see this is yesterday we might have started to make sense of things that have been lying beneath the surface, maybe neglected, laying dormant, waiting to crumble, or even cracks forming in our foundation. We started to have a little bit of a mental awareness around those things, with Mercury ruling our mental state, Pluto ruling what lies beneath, and what is dying in order to be reborn. It's intense. Anytime we have a Pluto transit, especially in opposition or a square to Pluto, it's intense, period. And I love that on Instagram, 1111 Nani is how I'm going to say it, says feeling exhausted and out of sorts. That's definitely a byproduct, because Pluto wants to transform things and it's going to do it in an intense way. Chiron retrograde happening at the same time, it's like, whoa, we're reviewing the things that have already been transformed and still need to be transformed within us. This is like a day for alchemy, how I see it. Things are shifting, things are crumbling in order to lay a new foundation, and that is uncomfortable. It's definitely uncomfortable. So when the sun is opposing Pluto, this can have some different effects for all of us, but in general, there's a conscious awareness now. We're really starting to embody and understand, with the sun and Mercury both opposing Pluto in Cancer, we're starting to make sense of what's been neglected underneath. Maybe things that have been hiding in our own shadows that we've just been suppressing and not wanting to pay attention to. Whenever we have an opposition, I see it like we're clearly seeing it straight in front of us, and either we're going to face it head on and we're like, okay, this is what's lying beneath the surface, this is what we need to handle, this is what we need to pay attention to. Or if we still refuse, we're like, no, I don't want to deal with this, it might slap us in the face. It might be a face-off, if that makes sense. So I would encourage you not to shy away from the things that maybe you've been suppressing. Give them space. Observe what's coming up for you. Give yourself a lot of grace while it's happening. And it could be physical, you know, it might be actual physical things in your body that are like, hey, screaming at you, like, you haven't been paying attention to this crick in your neck? Yeah, you're going to pay attention to it now. It could be in your physical environment. I saw another astrologer talking about, like, pay attention to your pipes and your plumbing, because Pluto's like what lies beneath the surface, and there could be some issues with like your physical environment with the sun opposing Pluto. But also it could just be in your mental state, in your healing journey, with so much of the focus on healing right now as Chiron stations retrograde. I see that being probably more prominent for most of us, but also just check anything that's been neglected lately. Anything you haven't been paying attention to, now is the time to check it. Anytime we talk about Pluto, there's also this tendency to try to control or manipulate. So as these things are surfacing, as things in the depths of you are being realized, or, things you've been neglecting are coming up, there's a tendency to try to control and manipulate because it's uncomfortable. Maybe you're trying to control or manipulate other people as you're dealing with this. Power struggles are definitely possible when there's a Sun-Pluto opposition, especially, again, cardinal signs are being really activated today with this happening in cardinal signs, Cancer and Capricorn, and Chiron stationing retrograde in Aries. Any cardinal signs, just hang in there right now, or just people with major cardinal placements in general. As I was looking into this transit as well, Planets in Transit by Robert Hand, my Bible when it comes to transits, said to avoid any dangerous situations, anger, violence is possible, because again, a lot of these triggers that we kind of push down, we're like, I don't want to deal with that thing that's making me angry. They can come up. So maybe it's not you. Maybe you're like, I'm good. I recognize my healing journey. I'm navigating this. I'm proud of myself. Maybe it's other people. Just beware of that. Be careful today, if that makes sense. Don't put yourself in any unnecessarily dangerous situations. Today's not the day to go skydiving. I wouldn't do that today, or do anything super dangerous or risky. Overall, though, I see today as a giant blend of energy, as just a point of transformation. Chiron stationing retrograde, helping us understand our healing. The Sun opposing Pluto, really shining a light on the transformation that's been happening, on the death and rebirth we've been going through. We die and are reborn thousands of times in this lifetime, and this is one of those points where it's like, what's falling away, what's crumbling for us to rebuild and be reborn. Rachel says, I'm feeling a bit more optimism than before. I'm thankful for the awareness. Everything is starting to make more sense now. That's beautiful. And I love how astrology can help us make sense of even the difficulties we're going through. Even looking at, if it's with your partner, your chart and your partner's chart, what's being activated with them. It just, for me, it helps me give so much more grace to other people rather than just being like, oh, why do I feel this way? Or why is this person acting this way? It's like, the Sun is opposing Pluto today. Mercury was opposing Pluto yesterday. We're all feeling a little more intense. Also, I will just say with Mercury and Leo, we're going to be a little bit more fiery and bold with our words, especially with Mercury at 0 degrees. We're all a little bit more eager to speak up, and that could play into some power struggles. So as much as I love Mercury and Leo, today with this energy, just be really conscientious about how you're expressing yourself, maybe not coming on too strong today or right now, being a little bit more gentle. Court says, I just want to cry. I'm so tired today. I'm proud of myself for what I've been creating and doing, but I'm tired as heck. I feel you. I feel you. And remember, we're still in Cancer season. As much as we're talking about, Mercury and Leo, we're already looking at Leo season okay, we can't wait. It's happening on Friday. The party's getting started on Friday. We're still in Cancer season. The focus is still on our body. It can make us very tired and just kind of want to be at home more. So give yourself grace, whatever's coming up for you. And Court, you've been doing so much transformation in your life, in your business. A lot of things for you have been falling away in order for you to recreate yourself, or at least that's what I see through social media. So if you need to take some time to just honor your body and be tired, remember, you're not going to lose momentum. In fact, you'll probably gain some momentum just by giving yourself time to rest. And I'm sure you, being a man, Jen, and just who you are, giving yourself that downtime, all these new creative ideas are probably going to pop up for you. So full permission to rest today if you're tired, because I would say if you neglect those feelings of tiredness, like this transit is if you neglect your body feeling tired, you're going to be a bitch. You're going to be angry and hostile. I could definitely see that happening. People reaching a point of I'm so tired. And when we're tired, we're cranky. That's definitely a possibility. The meat suit needed a break, and you're honoring that, and that is beautiful. That's beautiful. So those are the major transits we're dealing with today. We already talked about the moon forming a conjunction to Chiron this morning, really bringing an awareness to the healing journey. Now I want to talk about what's going on with the moon tonight, because I think it's actually going to help us navigate this opposition between the sun and Pluto. So we're under the waning gibbous phase in Aries. Tomorrow is the last quarter moon in Taurus. So we're reaching that peak release where we're really trying to let things go, really playing into this opposition to Pluto of what's dying, even our card yesterday, just die, just let it go, right? But tonight, the moon forms a sextile to Saturn. This is late tonight, around 11 p.m. But as the intensity of that opposition between the sun and Pluto builds, I see Saturn actually helping us out for once. What? I see the sextile between the moon and Saturn, once the moon hits 23 degrees, as helping us slow down a little bit, kind of return to our senses, be a little bit more practical, be a little bit more mature and responsible, maybe even take a break, like distance ourselves a little bit from whatever is maybe a little more fiery at the time, or whatever intensity is coming up. I see Saturn as kind of putting a buffer on it and being like, hey, let's just be realistic here. We don't have to blow up. We don't have to come to a resolution right now or get to the bottom of it at this very moment. We can take it slow. And remember that transformation is a slow process. So the moon and Saturn connecting in this supportive angle, I see as really helping us out tonight. But remember, with the sextile, we've got to lean into it. So we've got to have that awareness of like, okay, let's keep our senses about us. Saturn in Aquarius can also help us, see new perspectives through the lens of maturity. So just for once, we're like, thanks, Saturn, I guess. Thank you for helping us slow down. It's kind of odd to talk about Saturn in such a positive way because, he normally gets such a bad rap. But I see this transit as really just helping us to be mature. Those are all the major transits today. We have Mars forming a sextile to Lilith tomorrow, so we'll talk all about that, but definitely some power coming through with Mars and Lilith connecting in this way. Maybe some bitchiness too, and we're already feeling that. They're within a degree of each other. I mean, you can see it on the chart. They're both around 9-10 degrees in Taurus and Cancer respectively. So with those signs really focusing on the body too, I think maybe tomorrow or towards the end of the day today, we might start to feel more power within our bodies, but we want to make sure we're honoring whatever we're feeling. And then, of course, look at Uranus and the North Node now, both at 18 degrees, really in that conjunction now. And this transformation, these shifts, these changes of perspective are helping us to move towards where we're supposed to go. Remember that. Remember that this North Node Uranus conjunction is here to push us in the right direction, even when it feels incredibly uncomfortable. So it's not the most comfortable of days today, but transformation is possible. And I see this as a moment where we're all transforming collectively, individually. And remember, as you transform, you are transforming the world. We are all one. We're all connected. So, we're all feeling the intensity today, but we're also all doing our part to transform the collective. And that is a beautiful thing in itself. Our affirmation of the day today is every moment is an opportunity to transform. So yes, transformation, the key word of the day. But remember, even in intense moments, how can I use this? How can I transform this fear that's coming up into faith that it's going to be okay? The Sun-Pluto opposition that we're feeling today, and just this general opposition to Pluto that we've been talking about at the beginning of this week, is making us get to the truth of the matter. Pluto wants us to get to the bottom of it. It's what's real. It's the truth. And sometimes fears come up to show us the truth of how we really feel about things. So remember that every moment is an opportunity to transform. Every emotion that comes up is an opportunity to get to our own truth. And our truth can, what's that famous saying, like, you can't handle the truth. You can handle the truth. I promise you. You can handle it even if it feels like you can't. So even frustrating moments, I don't know why I said frustrating, so weird. Even frustrating moments can be opportunities to be like, why am I so agitated right now? What can I transform so I am more healed, so I can handle this in a better way the next time it comes up? You are the captain of your own ship, and every moment is an opportunity to turn the wheel wherever you want it to go. Let's do a tarot pull. I'm feeling the Cosmic Dancer Oracle today. It just felt right. It just felt right, especially talking about Mercury and Leo. Like, I just really wanted to lean into that energy because I feel like it's the most fun transit we got to talk about today. So, and with the moon in Aries, dancing it out, definitely a great way to move energy, to transform energy, to work through difficult emotions. I'm always a fan of dancing it out. As I shuffled these, this is your moment for final reflections, final questions. Let me know how this Chiron retrograde is feeling for you, what you're healing. And also remember, you got to feel it in order to heal it. Nobody ever, this is a really basic, great example of that. If you have something wrong in your body and you don't know it's there, this is very like Pluto as well, like what's going on beneath the surface, what's going on that we don't know about. If, for example, you have, I'm going to use something like your appendix, okay, because most people are fine if their appendix bursts. Something's going on in your appendix and you don't know it. It's when you start to feel the pain in your appendix that you're like, hey, something's not right here. And that's when the healing starts. Yeah, it's painful when your appendix starts to hurt, but a lot of times, if you are paying attention to that feeling, you can go to the doctor, you can be like, hey, this is going on, and they can heal it for you. They can fix it for you before it bursts. Or sometimes, if you keep neglecting it, the appendix bursts before you get the healing you need. But either way, 99% of the time, at least with the appendix, that's why I use this example, it's a little painful, but it creates more healing, and it's addressing something that's been going on underneath the surface that we weren't consciously aware of. So, all healing is like that, even emotional healing. You've got to feel it in order to know it's there. And if that pain's coming up, remember, it's an opportunity to transform. All right, let's pull a card. If we could all just take a collective deep breath together. Here we go. Breathe in. What do we need to know? This one's for you, Court. Retreat and recharge. It's a woman sleeping on the moon. Retreat and recharge. Card number 4, if 4 is a lucky number for anybody. And I opened right to it in the guidebook, just confirmation that this is definitely our message for today. Your aims will be best served by stepping back, going within, and taking some quality time to rest, refresh, and reassess. Although it may seem counterintuitive when there is much work to be done, you are striving to reach a goal, and you will get where you want to go more easily and enjoyably if your body, mind, and spirit have a chance to relax deeply so that you may emerge refreshed. Just as soil cannot be constantly cultivated if it is to bring forth a lush and abundant crop, we cannot drive ourselves relentlessly and expect to thrive. Consider also the dance of the moon, which regularly waxes and wanes, disappears behind the veil before emerging again to bless the earth with her gorgeous magical light. Take a moment to relax deeply. Breathe in and out, noticing where you are holding tension in your body. Breathe into those areas and let them release. Once you feel centered and grounded, you will know what this card means for you. It might be time for a vacation. Perhaps you will benefit from staying in and spending time with yourself rather than going out with your partner or friends. Or it could be a high time for a self-care endeavor like a warm bath, a massage, or a good night's sleep. Even a few minutes of meditation, deep breathing, or spending time in nature can make all the difference in the middle of a busy day. No matter how you choose to do it, be sure to calm your mind and let it be still before rushing straight back into the action. Once you've given yourself sufficient rest in the sacred sanctuary of silent self-care, you will benefit from honestly assessing your schedule. Is there anything you've been doing out of guilt, habit, or obligation that detracts from your ability to live the life you truly desire? Release any outmoded stories that keep you from vitally serving your soul. Furthermore, rest will help you get clear on the situation you're asking about. The answers are all there for you. They simply need a little quiet time so they can emerge. And this encourages you to do maybe some yoga or some gentle movement. There's always a movement that comes along with these cards. But wow, so spot on for, I think, all of us here right now. I know I needed to hear that message of resting and retreating. And I love how it reminds us to be still, to take a moment, to breathe into whatever pain is coming up. Remember when we talked about that Sun-Pluto opposition, whatever we've been neglecting or ignoring is becoming conscious now. And that could definitely be something within our physical body, even if it's just a feeling of tiredness, like Court was saying. But if you're feeling pain anywhere in your body or any tension, this card is your reminder to give yourself rest so you can figure out, how can I heal this? With so much talk about healing today, about transforming, part of the process of transformation is getting quiet so you can understand what really needs to be released and let go. And the Sun opposing Pluto is showing us, where do we need to let go? What do we need to let die? And rest is a key factor in understanding that. Hi, Emma. Thanks for being here. What a perfect card to end today's live stream. Just a giant permission slip to rest, to give yourself grace, to give yourself time to really process everything that's been coming up and figure out what's not serving your highest good anymore. Rachel says, I was talking about this yesterday. I always have a hard time resting or taking a break. It's the Virgo energy, right? I am right there with you. I've been meaning to start doing mindful check-ins. And it's so funny, like with our Virgo energy, I sometimes feel like I have to schedule in rest. And I think I actually need to be better about that because I haven't been doing it as much lately, but like just so mercurial, like I need to have my rest on the schedule. But this is our reminder. Rest is productive for our Virgo placements out there. I know we just want to keep going, but rest can definitely be productive as well. Give your mind and your body a moment to just be today and have the opportunity for awareness of what you've been neglecting. That's really the key to navigating today's transits. Thank you all for being here, for being vulnerable about what you've been going through. You know I appreciate you every day, showing up for yourselves, showing up for this beautiful community we're creating together. I will actually be back live at 11:11, so in less than an hour, talking with animal psychic Nikki Vasconez on the next episode of The Spiritual Journalist. We're talking about her ability to communicate with animals, what she's learned about their souls in the process, and how she was able to quit her job as a lawyer to become a full-time pet psychic. So I'm really excited for today's conversation. If you know me, you know I'm obsessed with my dogs, and I love anytime I can understand them better, understand their psyche, what's going on in their little heads. So it should be a really fun conversation. If you can, join us at 11:11 this morning. Ask your questions for Nikki, or you can find the replay anytime on my YouTube channel, and it will also be uploaded as a podcast on Apple and Spotify later today. Tomorrow, we're talking all about the last quarter moon in Taurus, about Mars in Taurus forming a sextile to Lilith. What do we need to release? How do we reclaim our power? That's really going to be the focus tomorrow. It is on the same channel, the Pet Psychic. So right where you're watching right now, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you can join us live at 11:11. I will be there, and my cat is waiting to watch as well. I know, part of me is like, maybe I should have my dogs in the room with me while we're doing this episode, just to have their energy around, you know, they can inspire me a little bit. But also my dogs are very chaotic. So I don't know if that's the best idea, but I'm excited to see you all in the comments at 11:11 and just grateful for you being here every day. I hope you have a beautiful Tuesday ahead of yourself. I hope you give yourself grace and rest and just grace. Grace is what keeps coming up. Give yourself grace as whatever tension you're feeling comes into your awareness. I love you all. I will see you when I see you, whether that's later today, tomorrow morning, or later this week. But whenever I see you next, until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.